This episode picks right back up from last week, with Gavv rescuing Valen and they stop in an alley. Because since Hanto had his surgery, he can't really go to a hospital, and Hanto says he had a feeling that Gavv knows him because when Hanto was hit, he heard Gavv say Mr. Karakita, and he believes it isn't fair that he's the only one in the dark, and Gavv says he was also in the dark, and de-transforms, exposing that Gavv is actually Shoma, and with his last words, "So it was you," Hanto passes out. And it cuts to Sachika, who's still looking for Emmy and the kid, and she turns around to meet with Hana, but she spots Emmy hiding, so she runs over and embraces Emmy, who's freaking out about a monster. Now we head over to the Happy Parade, where Shoma patches up Hanto and looks at his stomach, saying it doesn't really look like a Granutes, and he remembers when Valen asks if he was also operated on, and Shoma realizes before his surgery, Hanto was just a regular human. As he thinks about this, he gets a call from Sachika, who lets him know she found Emmy and took her home, but she's gonna stay and snoop around a bit more. And when the call ends, Hanto wakes up, asking if the boss lady also doesn't know he's a Kamen Rider, because if she did, he doubts she'd be as chill about it. Then he fixes the bandages that Shoma messed up, because Shoma never had to do it before, and thanks him for saving his life, but he asks why Shoma didn't go ahead and kill the Granutes. And when Shoma says he was badly damaged and wanted to help, Hanto lashes out, saying that it doesn't matter, since he let the monster go, someone else could be eaten, and if they don't do all they can to exterminate the Granutes, they'll just keep taking more and more victims. And Shoma was supposed to forget about him and kill the Granutes, but Shoma says he can't do that. He gets how Hanto feels, but if he didn't save his life, he wouldn't be able to save anyone else or fight any more Granutes. And if he ignored him and kept fighting, he'd just be another victim, another precious life the Granutes took from him, which gets through to Hanto, so he apologizes to Shoma and says he shouldn't have pinned his insecurities on Shoma, who says it's fine, and then Hanto asks if he's ever had to watch the Granutes take a victim before, and Shoma says it was his mom, and during a flashback explains that they used her for their confections, and Hanto shares that this also happened to his mom, and when he was a kid, he saw them take his mother, who was the only family he had, and when Shoma sees the photo of them, his head hurts, and he freaks out, although he wasn't sure why, and Hanto goes on to say his mom wasn't the only one they took from him, and that's why he'll make sure the Granutes pay. Now we head over to Emmy's home, where Sachika shows them all the news and photos about the Kamen Riders, who fights the monsters and flexes that she's seen him in action herself. And Hana explains to Emmy that he wasn't the one that hurt her, he actually saved her life. But Emmy's still scared because if Niwa was really a monster who went through all the effort of catfishing her, maybe he will try again, and she should have just listened to Hana from the start. Then it cuts to the Granute world, where a Granute attempts to steal a box of treats from an agent, which doesn't work out for him because he's beaten by an agent and is taken away. And fun fact, this Granute is actually played by Kirame Silver from Mashin Sentai Kiramager, and it's rumored that he might also be the leaked Kamen Rider Vlam, which I was hoping was Sachika, but another Granute would also be cool. Now we stop by the Happy Parade the next day, where we get a pretty funny moment of Shoma brushing his teeth and his Gavv. This is short-lived though, because Sachika comes home and shows him a guy that she's meeting called Getaro, who she suspects is the one who attacked Emmy, and we see her scrolling through all of the alt accounts he used to pull off his scheme, and DMing them using an edited photo, and Shoma reads the freaky messages that Getaro sent, which sounded just like the ones Niwa also sent to Emmy, and she says her plan is to ask him out, and when the time comes, she'll post on her feed so the Kamen Riders can come in and save the day. and Shoma freaks out over Sachika's genius and asks if she slept the night before, because she was unusually tired, and she goes off to take a power nap, asking Shoma to wake her up for the day. And he gives her one even better. He just says that he'll handle the rest himself from here. And it cuts to Hanto, who thanks Suga for patching him up properly, because he made it impossible for him to ever go to a hospital again. And Suga laughs, saying he doesn't skimp on the aftercare, and when Hanto needs him, he'll be there. And Hanto gets a call from Shoma and leaves. Now we head over to Stomach Inc., where Glotta asks about Shoma, and Lango says he was beyond his wildest expectations, and it's easy to see why Shita and Jeebh had such a hard time dealing with him. But he just has physical strength. Mentally, Shoma's still weak. And Lango unveils his plan to increase the number of part-time staff and identify the most capable ones, but he needs Glotta's help, which she accepts because it sounds like fun. And they switch to their monster forms and begins interrogating the Granute from before. Now we cut to a lady who passes the kid Granute, but when the Granute attempts to press her, she dodges, or should I say, because it's actually Shoma who catfished the catfish. And when the Granute turns to escape, Hanto corners him, saying he owes him for what he did. So the Granute shows him his true form and runs off, leaving Hanto and Shoma, who perform their first double henshin. And let me just say, this was awesome. And they begin the fight with the Granute, which was pretty cool. And after Valen warns Gavu that the monster can take a punch, Gavv uses his Zaku Zaku Chips form to attack, but his slashers are breaking without dealing enough damage. So Valen comes up with the idea to combine his powers with Gavv's, which helps them to really deal damage to the Granute. And as a thanks for the assist, Gavv offers Valen 3 Gotchizos, and he picks Doumaru, which he uses to become Valen Doumaru, which is able to hit hard and reflect attacks. And when the monster powers up his blast attack, Valen uses his finisher to close the Granute's mouth and trap him, and goes to a side as Gavu uses his Gurukan Bakugan assist to annihilate the Granute. After the fight, we go back to the Happy Parade, where Hanto shows Emmy the Kamen Riders defeating the monsters, and Hana and Emmy thanks him for all the help, and Sachika compliments Hanto on the insane camera angle, and it flashes back to Valen recording Gavu doing the finisher. Then Hanto has a talk with Shoma, admitting that it's a relief knowing there's someone out there who gets him, and says Shoma can just call him Hanto instead of Mr. Karakita, and he looks forward to them working together, which excites Shoma, though in his head he knows Hanto's human, and assumes he's also human, and that's the only reason he trusts him, even though he's a granny. Before the episode ends, we cut to the twins with Shita and Jeebh saying they don't want to go back home, because if they do, Lango will force them into an arranged marriage and rip them away from each other, and they've been together since the day they were born and never want to be apart. But things change for them when some agents come in and says the area is restricted to authorized personnel only, which shocks them because they built the base. And the agents reveal they are no longer a part of the Stomach family and throws them out. And with the twins having no other options and nowhere else to go, they blame it on Gavu and gets up, vowing to make him pay, and they walk off. But hey, at least they're still together. Anyways, this has been the Toku recap of Kamen Rider Gavv episode 12. If you've enjoyed, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, so you'll be the first to see when next I upload, because there's a lot coming. There's King Ultra in Space, Gotchard Future Daybreak, and episode 13 of Gavv, which I'm pretty excited to see, because it features Shita and Jeebh versus Gavv, and we get to see the debut of Gavv's Bushel form. But there's nothing else for me to say today, so it's Adam, and I'm signing off.